Well, one more session today. We will go deep into all these eight principles that we have learned during last couple of weeks. So I'll give you just a background because this text was written around, you can say, around 1400 years ago. But our tradition is 6,000 years old, and it's good that we have two mature kids. I won't say, I don't want to use only the kids, but intelligent kids. So I'll just give you a background of these eight steps. Where is Lara? Lara has to take a lot of notes. So these eight steps, yes, Sergey, very good. So we are going to summarize the eight steps that we have learned during the last couple of weeks. So I just want to give you a background, how these principles were discovered. And I covered just for 10, 15, 20 minutes. One has to dedicate their time for learning clearly and to follow the path. So the first thing, that the entire life has been divided by the masters into four stages. Four stages. Early life of learning and education. Second life of profession, family, and the social life. Third life, now I have achieved more or less everything. So what should I do? So I should contemplate on the purpose of life with a clarity of understanding. And then I continue the journey to evolve myself, to awaken to the inner peace and happiness. Here, Lara is there. So what we did you see that first four principles, just a recap. We have to study, contemplate, and reflect on the principles of the Eastern wisdom. It has two categories. It takes care of the material world, skill development, and it also takes care of my inner development. Can I work, live, think in peace and happiness? Or I'm always running, fully busy, getting stressed. So that is the first part. Based on that knowledge is to be applied. That is what we understood. Knowledge to be applied in professional, social, and family life. So as we are doing it, we keep our understanding, we keep our awareness from where this action originates. And we take our mind and our actions to the very existence. And then the fourth step is we redefine and refine our actions in our daily life so that we can live happy in happiness and peace. I will touch base briefly on the two stages of the life of learning and the life of professional, family, and social life. So all these eight principles apply to these two stages of the life. The first stage of the life of learning and education is known as Brahmacharya Ashram. Ashram means shelter. Brahmacharya, the one who knows how to move, live, and work in the self. This stage of the life is a resting place for education and learning. So in those days we had a Gurukul. Gurukul means a monastery where the guru and his family used to live. So his family used to take care of all the kids who approach the monastery for learning. And the role of a teacher is to impart that education. Just giving a brief of it. It takes a lot of hours to learn. So what is the first step is to be done? When the kid is 5 or 6 years old or 7 years old, when you are able to communicate. So there is a ritual outside and a deeper essence inside. That ritual is known as Upanayan. The meaning of the Upanayan is bringing the kid near to the teacher for self-discovery. So how to make the kids remember that? Huh? How they, I had those, but I removed it. So what? Now there is a ceremony where the family members sit together, like it's a celebration, like a marriage or a birthday celebration. The people are offered the food. But what is the goal of that ritual? That kid is given a sacred thread that he has to wear on his body. It points out that he has to devote another 15 or 20 years of his life for knowledge of not only the self but the knowledge of the world outside. Now you can see the skill development to lead a professional family life, and constantly the teacher, you are always under the supervision of a teacher. So you are learning agricultural, you are learning skill development, and at the same time, every day you devote some time for the education of meditation, education of the mantras. But at the same time, you see, when the kid becomes angry, so the teacher doesn't also become angry. So in that monastery, you are learning, from where the anger has come, from where the hesitation has come. Is it good or is it bad? So masters have classified 6 enemies in the mind: anger, greed, delusion, and ego. That is one aspect of it. And the second most beautiful aspect of it is that you know the art of learning so that you can grasp any subject deeply and clearly. So how that was done? Lara, from there, and Jerry, from there came the chanting of the Shanti mantra. So first step is learning anything is chanting, recitation. Second is learning and listening from a teacher. Third step is contemplation and reflection. And the fourth step is applying that knowledge in your daily life. So, the first 4 principles that we have covered. What 4 principles that we have covered? Study and contemplation is the first step. You keep it every day. I think it has been more than 40 years in my so-called in this profession. So every month, on the last day of the month, I decide which are the 2 books I'm going to study every day, even for half an hour. So I choose that book and I make it a point. Now it has become a discipline in education. So I put whether I'm studying in the night or studying in the morning, I must study. So half an hour I study even 5 pages. Then I close my eyes, I contemplate and reflect. If you apply this process in learning any subject, the learning becomes a joyful. The second step is that once I learn how to apply that knowledge, so we learn that what are those actions, prohibited actions, prescribed actions, daily actions to be done, and what are the actions that will help me purifying the mind. In the third step, we went deeper. What is the origin of every action? Without thought, I cannot perform an action. Behind the thought, there is a desire. Behind the desire, there is a pleasure-seeking mind. Can I change it? If you change that pleasure-seeking mind, this mind will never be crazy. This mind will never have the wandering attitude at all. So all these 4 steps. I'll speak a little bit of the next 4 steps. Yes, one thing very important. I discussed about open I am. You are a 7-year-old kid and all the entire family is sitting, and the master comes from the monastery and he says, from today, there is a second birth. That is very important. What is this first birth? So this simile has been taken from the bird. Bird lays their egg, that is the first birth. And the small kitten, they break the shell of the egg, that is their second birth. So 7 years, you have taken birth from a mother, and what is the next birth? Now the next birth should be devoted to education, lifelong learning, and goal is to live in peace and happiness. That was the ideal. And still we have a couple of monasteries. So now coming to, I have learned the knowledge. Now I am going to enter into my professional, social, and married life. See, these 2 mature kids have joined today, and the topic also aligns with them. So now they enter into professional, social, and married life. Now the student has the right knowledge for the self-discovery. He knows what meditation is. He knows how to perform the karmas. See that? Freedom from the ego. He can easily enter into the family, professional, and social life. Will there be any stress? Will there be any conflict? No. So that person who enters into the professional life chooses the right profession. It's a householder life. Fulfill his duties and obligations of the second stage of the life. Whatever he has learnt in the first stage, so what happens here? That person or that student is a raw, so he learns how to move from desire fulfillment to desire management to self-fulfillment. Have you heard the word desire management? No. I have the desire, let me fulfill it. I'm not able to fulfill it. Let me enter into stress, enjoy suffering, going back, create another desire. I did not learn desire management. Because if I learn the desire management in the first stage, my mind will not be crazy, not be wandering, not get upset. Do you see the reason behind it? Second part of the professional, married, and the social life is to learn from my own experiences. What is that learning from my own experiences? I gave you an example that will help you to understand. Our mind has an animal nature that is hidden behind. If you agree with me, you are good. If you don't agree with me, I have a reason to be angry. I have a reason to fight. So that idea enters into my professional, social, and married life. What should I do? I should learn from my experiences and use the knowledge that I have learned in the first days. So I have already the skills and the power to remain calm, unaffected, not to be influenced and dictated by the challenges of the outer world. What happens if my partner has a nature to be angry and upset? But I know how to remain calm and peace in that situation. So I don't take a very quick action. Leave this guy, divorce, get married. Again, same thing applies to the profession and professional life. If I'm a boss, I know how to take care of it. I know I have learned how to manage those 6 enemies. Do you see that? Do you see that? So once you have that, what happens? First, you purify the mind. The mind becomes purified. Mind always lives in the state of calmness, peace, by following the next 4 principles that we have covered. What are those 4 principles we have covered? Knowledge-oriented mind replaces overactive and lazy mind, and that destroys our sense. Sense, you can say, not in a religious sense, I have already explained. Any action guided and dictated by the animal mind becomes a sin. Any action guided and dictated by the right knowledge and the wisdom becomes virtue. Then we recognize the inherent defects in the pleasure. So once I recognize the inherent defects in the pleasure and my mind is crazy after some object in the world outside, what will happen? I realize the inherent defects. The mind will remain calm. I can educate my mind, come on. Why you want this object in the world? Why you are seeking this thing in the world? Because of pleasure. Do you see the inherent defects in the pleasure? First time you eat pasta, you like it, 100% pleasure. Second time, pleasure drops down to 90%. And the 10th time, you say, I don't want to eat pasta. Finished. This is done. Same thing happens with every object. So when I recognize the inherent defects of the pleasure, then what happens? Mind calms down. Mind becomes very peaceful. So these, in the 7th is, let us cultivate the knowledge of the self for awakening and realization. And the 8th was, always remember our real home. What is that real home? Is my real self, that is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. One more couple of points more, so that take one example of education. We say study. So what happens in the study? First thing that I told you, that how we study any subject, that's how I created 5 or 6 steps for the kids, how to study any subject, so that your memory power, and your concentration and retention becomes very part of your life. So the first thing, what happens in that the first stage of the life, the master guides you how to have an intense concentration, how to develop an intense concentration, how to build a relationship with the teacher, how to develop a particular skill, that can be used for life. Now, we have a purely scientific approach towards studying even the subject of meditation. Elaboration is the first. The teacher elaborates the basic principles carefully, depending on the temperament of a student. You go to the formal education, the professor comes, they have only one way of teaching. What they have? Prepared the notes, they have to throw it out in the class and tell, no, now you have to study and pass the examination. That kind of a teaching was not present in the Eastern wisdom and learning the meditation. No, ask questions. Let me elaborate based on your temperament. Second part comes the adaptation. How you adapt that knowledge to be applied in daily life. Third is interpretation. You see, we have 3,000 texts to understand only one thing. What exactly is meditation and what is the goal of meditation? Goal of meditation leads to the knowledge of reality. Knowledge of reality, where it goes? Knowledge of reality leads you to discover that real self. What is real self? Real self is of the nature of pure awareness, truth, love, wisdom. So what I have to do with that? Once I settle myself into a meditation, I know how to live, work, think, and speak and express peace, happiness in everyday life, in spite of the challenges that I have. So the first, from the next week, I'll take another 8 steps that will take little deeper into the journey of meditation. We'll have question and answer session after the practice. Do you remember? Knowledge, I know it. Now that knowledge is to be applied. So I have to perform karma, action. So action has different categories. I have understood it. Third, I go to the origin of my action. Am I speaking? Am I doing an action? Speaking is also an action. Am I doing action? Yes, you nodded the head. How can you say that? Am I my body or I'm different from the body? I'm not the body. Body is performing an action. How come I'm doing an action? Mind. So is my mind me? So how can I claim that I'm performing an action? Come on, see that. Can I become aware of that? So once you think in that way, what happens to your mind? Let me perform an action without attaching myself. Means I don't have any ego for performing an action. See that? So it means because I'm not performing an action, from deeper inside I have realized, so there is no ego. There is no identification. So there is no identification. Then what happens? I'm not expecting that for my action someone appreciate me. I appreciate myself. I have done my action fully well, putting my 100%. And at the same time, I'm not thinking of the future. What for every action I think of the future. What is that future? Fruits of that result. Constantly my mind is linked to the fruits of. So what will happen to the mind? Now mind is clear. It is simply performing an action with awareness, with clarity. And as I continue the journey, I realize the defects in the pleasure seeking mind by performing an action. Can that mind be crazy, lazy, wandering? So your mind is purified, mind is clear. You go to the job. Again, taking one thing, you go to the job, this is the action that I need to perform. So your mind is totally focused on the action to be done in a playful mood. You do your action in stress or with lot of expectation because there is the ego attached to it. Don't you think so? Do you have ego going to the restroom? That is also an action. Answer is no. Do you have an ego eating some food? See that. You don't have. But the moment we create a false notion in our mind, and that builds up a lot of negative thoughts, makes the mind wandering, and it becomes very difficult for you to speak even before an audience. Your feet start trembling. The mind stops. Look at it. How much benefit you get it in your personal, professional, social life by learning these principles. Whenever we have time, we'll go deeply to each and every principle. Every principle has certain rules. You follow it for a week, it becomes a part and parcel of your mind and intellect, and then you start applying. You see that life becomes very good, independent of anything outside. Let us start our journey. So then you can have a lot of questions. So we'll go for the second verse with the 8 more principles. Eyes are closed. Be playful. Be joyful. We're not tracking Mount Everest, so you need not to think and worry. Just follow the simple instructions. Eyes are closed. Mind is looking inside the head or the heart. And the body is steady. In the beginning of a journey, body needs to be steady to recognize that the mind is not moving outward. The stage 1. We have 4 steps. First step, steadiness in the body, not enforced, but discovered. How? Just keep the mind facing within, looking within. Enjoy that state. It is a state of doing nothing. You see that? The greater the clarity of these principles, deeper the meditative state. I told you about pre-meditation and post-meditation. Now going little deeper to the second step, being comfortable. Move the mind on the neck joint. Feel the sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. Did I say to create sensation, create steadiness, create comfort? No. So keep your mind free. That's a part of the subtle ego that destroys the meditation step. What I'm doing, move the mind on the shoulder joints. Mind moves on the shoulder joints. The shoulder joint doesn't move to the mind, remember. That's all point of awareness. And be there, feel sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. The mind goes to hip joint. Feel, sense, experience sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. The mind goes to the entire body. When I say mind goes to the entire body, is it doing something? Mind is already there. So when I express that, the mind becomes aware. Is awareness doing anything? No. Remember this. So if it is not doing anything, the body will not move. When the body will not move, and I maintain that awareness, the mind moves on the entire body, from the crown of the head to the toes, looking at all the joints and experiencing sensation, being comfortable and steadiness. Being carefree is the third step of the stage 1. Carefree. What is the meaning of the carefree in meditation? There are two parts of the mind. The one part deeper inside, like a couple of meters below the ocean, the water is calm. And on the surface, turmoil, the waves, same thing. Surface mind, lot of thoughts. Let it be. Deeper mind, no thoughts. What I do? I just look deep inside. That is one way to understand being carefree. Other way, traffic on the road, you are standing across the road. You allow the traffic to pass. You're standing across, you're different, separate. So second point of awareness in this step is to discover you are separate from all these thoughts. So when you are already separate, what happens? Thought is good or bad, high, low, doesn't matter. Being carefree. And the fourth step of the stage 1 is being casual. Look at the space, which is perfectly casual. Casual means natural. Natural means unaffected. It lives with its own essential nature, bypassing the changes that happens in the same space. The skyscraper is built. Anything happens to this space? Skyscraper is demolished. Anything happens? Nothing. Can I have a glimpse of that? Can I become aware in the state of doing nothing? So once the stage 1 is done correctly, consciously, done consciously, that is doing correctly, my friend. So, second stage is all about purification of the mind. Why? We have already understood today. So how we do it? Keep looking deep inside the heart in the space or darkness. Maintain that steadiness, comfort in the body, and remain cheerful and start breathing quick and short. Breath cheerfully through both the nostrils into the ribs. There is an expansion and contraction of the ribs. Gently, not fastly. You enjoy that breath. Continue. No stopping in between. You want to go deeper into the meditation today. You heard me. You learned that. You know all the points. Continue. And stop it. The second step of this purification is the humming sound. Understand it. Start inhaling deep, silent, slow breath. First from the belly, then into the rib cage, up to the throat. And it should take time. You need not to be in a hurry. It should be totally noiseless. But keep the lips together while breathing out. Make the humming sound as deep, as long, as loud as possible. Pay attention to little details. Do not squeeze your lips. Lips remain together gently. You take your own time, and the next breath is deeper than the previous breath. And just continue doing it. Looking deep inside the forehead and recognize the new experiences that takes over you. New experiences, recognize them, accept them. You are in safe hands in any meditation that I give to you, because it is purely a conscious process. We all together know what we are doing, why we are doing. So continue. Long, deep, silent inhalation, and exhalation is with the humming sound, louder, deeper, longer, maintaining sensation, comfortable, and steadiness, my friends. The mind will try to trigger the body. Become aware, return to the steadiness, and continue the journey. And stop this humming sound. The stage 2 is over. Third stage. First step. Let us be passive in the first beginning. Look at the head and the neck. Who is looking? The mind. So where the mind is? On the head and the neck, as if it is touching every cell of the skin of the head and the neck. Result? Sensation, relaxation and stillness. You'll find unusual sensation. Recognize and accept it. Maybe tingling, maybe numbness, maybe freezing. You're in safe hands. The mind goes to the right arm. Sensation, relaxation and stillness. The mind on the left arm. How the mind looks at the left arm, it touches every cell of the skin of the left arm. From the shoulder to the fingertips. And what happens then? Wait, see, experience, sensation, relaxation and stillness. Move the mind on the rib cage. On the rib cage in the front and back. Again, be there. Sensation, relaxation and stillness, my friend. Belly in the front and the lower spine of the back. Be there. The mind moves all around the skin and you experience sensation, relaxation and stillness. Right leg. I'll tell you why I gave this step, because of the kids. And that's how I customize, depending on the group. Right leg, be there, sensation, relaxation and stillness. Left leg, sensation, relaxation and stillness. The entire body. So this is our experience outside the body. Now we'll move to the experience inside the body. Make your breath a little deeper. So your breath is a car, mind is driver, where you have to move on the highway. What is that highway? The moment you start inhaling, move the mind inside the right arm. Inside the right arm in the space from the right shoulder to the fingertips, or the fingertips to the shoulder. Inside, the mind is knowing, discovering, moving on the highway, that is space. So during exhalation, same thing, either from the shoulder to the fingertips or fingertips to the shoulder. So you bypass the outer physical body. You are moving your mind to a subtler level, a practice of nyasa. So what is going to happen if the mind continues to live within? It will freeze your body. It will give a variety of sensations in the body, maybe tingling, freezing, numbness, vision in the colors. Let it be there. Recognize and accept them. Continue the journey. Now move the mind in the same way inside the left arm. So the breath is the car. Mind is the driver. Highway is the inner space, blankness, darkness inside the left arm. Right now moves inside the right leg with the breath, looking on the highway. From the right side of the waist to the toes, and from the toes to the right side of the waist. You're clear. Breath is little deeper. It's a car running smoothly. The mind is driving the car smoothly on the highway, on the space inside. That's a tool, that's a device to help the mind to transcend. What is transcend? To go beyond the sense organs, to go behind itself. And now inside the left leg, same way. Highway inside is the space. Breath, car, mind, driver. Mind will, in the first, when you practice for the first time, the mind will cause some trigger, take your mind out in the body, some scratching, some movement. It's okay, it's a part, it's a journey. And gradually, when your level of awareness goes up, you live into the enhanced, heightened state of awareness, the mind will recognize. You will recognize, oh, mind wants to go there, and you continue the journey, nothing will happen. I have seen a lot of people for the last almost 40 years, the journey, and I'll move the mind inside the spine from the top crown of the head to the tailbone, and from the tailbone to the crown of the head. With every breath going in, with every breath coming out. Breath is driver, mind is moving with the breath in the space inside the spine. Let anything and everything happen outside. Don't worry about it. You continue your journey. It's okay. Let it happen. And I'll leave this. I will move to the stage 4 of Om Shanti. And this is the most joyful and the playful step if the mind is living within. Where is that step? Any thought comes, you superimpose. What? Om Shanti. Mentally. Any thought, good and bad? Om Shanti. High and low? Om Shanti. The mind says, let me scratch my body. Don't do it, but say Om Shanti. What this practice looks like. I have been telling you that I come to your house and you ask me, what's your name? I say Om Shanti. What you do, Om Shanti? Why you have come, Om Shanti? Which car you have, Om Shanti? For any question that you ask, my one line answer is Om Shanti. In that way, you can have a glimpse of going behind and beyond the mind. The habitual, the wandering mind, the distracted mind will definitely bring in those thoughts, feeling, memories. The moment it brings, what you should do, Om Shanti. Don't forget that. What is the meaning of the forgetfulness? You get carried away by a thought. You see, you miss it. Don't miss. For every thought, Om Shanti. No thought, Om Shanti. And see then what happens. You're playing. It's a playful. Mind is living within. You may have sudden visions and colors. What should you recognize and accept them? They indicate a journey is going well. And now stop this. We'll move to the stage number 5, which is common breath mindfulness. 3-pointed awareness of the breath. Do nothing. First, look at the breath that is going in and coming out on its own. Second, when the breath goes in and out, you feel the sensation inside the nose. Recognize it. When the mind is totally obsessed outside with the thoughts and desires, we seldom feel that sensation. It is already there. Third point, no change in the rate, no change in the rate and the rhythm of the breath. That is our last step. Let me remind you again, you're not doing anything. So when you're not doing anything, you are already in the state of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. When you are not doing anything, the mind is already living within. Okay? From within, you have 3-pointed awareness of the breath. Breath is going in and out. feeling the sensation, no change. And doing nothing. Appreciate. Wonderful. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside your palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Now is the time to share our experiences. Wonderful. I could see that. I have a feeling. How are you, Jordan? I forgot his name. Jonathan. Jonathan. Jordan. Jonathan. Now I will remember. JJ.
What was your experience there? Um, I really, I mean, for me, it was nice just settling into the stillness, I think. Um,
Wonderful.
I have a lot on, and so I think there was a lot of, by the time we got to like the third stage or the fourth, it was just nice to have sort of the calmness of the mind. Um, I think this was, I've done the kind of techniques that you've done only, a handful of times with you. And, I'm seeing how like the moving through the state to sort of like set you up to like have that mental state at the later stages of the meditation, which I really like.
Beautiful, Jonathan. Perhaps this is your first time with me?
It's the first time doing this over the Zoom call or the.
You have done a couple of times with me.
In the backyard. In the
in the backyard. Ask yourself, is it important to remain settled all the time and doing all the activities outside?
Exactly.
Yes, wonderful. How are you, Jordan?
I'm good. I think I had more appreciation for the practice after reading the text for the past several weeks, so it kind of brought that to life. And definitely felt like certain things, like my dog or an itch, would distract my mind, but I think that just having the awareness that that's okay and just trying to come back to the center.
Wonderful.
That's focused on when I felt those distractions.
Wonderful. I think what you have edited, that also helps you because you have that understanding and the knowledge. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, keep editing and paying me because you are learning something. No, I'm just kidding. How are you, Jerry?
I'm doing well. It was a great meditation, maybe one of the best. It was very easy for my mind to stay within. And we had so many distractions. And you saw Theo was literally in my face for a long while when they just tried.
And still you continued.
Yeah. And then we had helicopters and barking and all kinds of things. So but my mind was easily staying inside and quiet.
Yes, that I saw. The dog was kissing her cheeks and still she was able to maintain that still. Jordan was distracted. Jordan doesn't want her mom to.
Yeah.
Very good. You see that? Just check it. If we understand the principle, last week we understood pre-meditation and post-meditation. So post-meditation means that you understand those principles and you follow, and then you are practicing. It takes you to a very deeper level. Everything, even the helicopter, these planes are there and the dogs are barking, noise, sound, you can still be able to maintain that state because it is within you. And what is within you cannot be disturbed by anything. It is only the body, the mind, the thoughts. How are you, David?
I'm doing well. Your analogy at the beginning about the waves being water being very turbulent on top and very calm on 2 meters below the surface was very relevant for me. So, like Teresa said, lots of activity, lots of noise, sirens, everything. But I was able to, like Teresa, it was probably one of my best because I was able to find that calm water 2 meters below the surface.
So beautiful, even amid so many distractions outside. Do you see that? That state means, what is that state means? It's a typical name, but one thing is there, That is known as the second of the six treasures. The Sanskrit name is Dhamma. You see an object, but the sense organ, even after seeing, is not distracting the mind at all. Senses are totally away from their respective objects. In that case, in that scenario, whatever is happening in the world, nothing distracts you. And that state can be achieved by meditation. Wonderful, David. How are you, Lara? Everyone did it very well. That's what I felt.
So one thing was interesting because I've been teaching the mind lake meditation all week, which is kind of looking at the turbulent waters and then trying to go underneath. So that was really kind of interesting. And then I realized how this has been a really, really challenging week for me. A friend of mine had a stroke and is in a coma right now. And I'm trying to decide if I need to keep my business open or not. And there's just a lot of external stress. And so it was the Om Shanti piece was super helpful for me.
Good.
Because that kind of brought me in. And I actually continued that as we moved through the next stages because I saw my mind wandering back into the chaos again. I just came back to Om Shanti. So that piece was really helpful for me.
Wonderful.
It's been a challenging week.
Challenging. Always apply the principles. You see that? Whenever we have challenges outside in the world, we cannot do the practice. Say example, your friend has a stroke, so let me practice mindfulness. It cannot happen. But what can happen? The knowledge part can happen. I can apply the knowledge in my mind. What is the situation outside? First thing is to separate myself from the world and its condition because it is already separate. How I am related? Because I am identifying with it. Because I like something. Because I dislike something. So if that knowledge happens in the mind, you can face any challenges in the world peacefully and calmly. Keep a smile. You did very well. How are you, Terry?
I'm okay. I was very having a lot of I would keep drifting off into a lot of thoughts, but they weren't. So it was almost like dreams.
Yes.
But I wasn't asleep, and then I would forget that I was meditating.
Yes.
Oh, I would come back, but I didn't wake up or I didn't open my eyes or anything. But I would just slip into them without even realizing it. And as soon as I realized I was in a thought, and I would think, wait a minute, this is what I'm supposed to be here for that. I would drop it and go back to realize that I was listening to the class.
Do you see her?
I didn't even know that I was doing it.
Yeah. Do you see her awareness? That she is able to recognize it was a dream and some fancy. She forget everything. She returned and she reminded. It means we are understanding the deeper and the deeper layers of the mind, how they are working. And once we understand that, we can transcend them. Good. How are you, Stephen?
Really good. This meditation was extremely energetic for me.
Good.
For lack of a better term per se, from the moment I closed my eyes, whatever I focused in on, if we started, go inside, you start the meditation with going inside your head or going inside your heart. So I went inside my head and I immediately would feel a sensation of a circular energy around my crown.
Tremendous progress.
And as I went through the body, anywhere that you said to focus between the crown and the tailbone, I felt a swirling energy, not around my body from the outside, but from inside my body.
Wonderful.
And then when you went to the arms and and the legs and everything, the outer extremities, I felt the energy going up and down as I was breathing. And it was from start to finish.
Beautiful. We should always be clear that we are an experiencer. We are not our experiences. But every experience indicates the progress on the path. And that is what is happening. Do you also feel some changes in your responses in your family, social, and the professional life?
Yes, absolutely.
That is
I think I said to you last time, I
yeah,
feel like
that is a good beginning.
I'm seeing it in every day, not just when I'm sitting in meditation.
What a beautiful journey. That's really good. How are you, Daniel?
So for me, it was very quiet. I don't know how to describe it, but I was feeling super quiet.
Super quiet.
Quiet. Yes, and I was at the beginning. I was very quiet, and I was smiling to myself. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It was like no thoughts, nothing. But then it was like a peace, kind of peace and like happiness, I think. And then this feeling like disappeared, like all feelings and smiling or being quiet disappeared. And it was like you described, like diving into the water when there is artificial light slowly going out. And it was like a very quiet state of mind.
Yeah, by chance you touched your true nature. So that true nature, the essential qualities of my real self is peace and happiness and joy. So it appeared. And then again the mind came in between. That is why we are practicing meditation. So that we continue to live and work through that true nature. When you are happy without any reason, Lara, when you are joyful without any, there is no reason. So obviously it is coming from inside. It is coming from inside. The sugar does not need any reason to express its sweetness. It is already sweet, always sweet. You have to face the challenges of the life, Lara, from your real nature. That is the way the life purpose has been defined by our masters. I want to see the smile on your face. How are you, Sergey?
Thank you. Good. I feel like constantly fighting with my mind to come back, to keep calm, to stay calm. So I believe I can.
It will happen. Don't worry. Yesterday, to some. Yesterday, one asked me to have half an hour free. I said, okay. So he said to me, I met all the fake gurus. All gurus are fake. So I said, you have fixed half an hour. So I started talking about certain principles. I know that he was very much excited if I say in the very beginning. So after 20 minutes, I told him that, do you realize your desire for meditation is fake? That is why you see all gurus are fake. Are you understanding? All gurus are fake. My answer after 20 minutes, Lara, after explaining certain principles, that your desire for meditation is fake. That is why you meet all the fake gurus. What should I do? I told him, open up. You are simply a bud which is closed. Open up. Open up. Open up. Let the bee come to you. and pollinate you. Then only you'll be able to learn what the meditation is. If you don't open up, only one thing will work in your mind, that everything is fake in the world. Learn from this lesson. Always remain open, learn the principles, test it with the reasoning. Don't believe it. I believe you because you will give me beautiful experiences. Your desire for meditation is fake. Give me some mantra that will make me more powerful. Your desire for meditation is fake. Do I want to discover my true nature? My desire for meditation is real. You will always meet the right teacher because now you are open. That is all. We'll meet again next week. Thank you very much for tolerating me. Lara, have a bigger smile.
There's a lot I need to figure out before that. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night. No, good morning.